Home, Alabama. We all know this song. We know it crushes in the clubs. It's one of the most popular songs ever written. And if you're a cover band, you basically have to have it in your set. Because even if you don't like the song and it's overplayed, if you have an empty dance floor and you fire this one up, chances are you're going to right the wrong and the buffalo will return. So best to bring them back. And this song is interesting because people tend to think that it is D, C, and G, and you just muscle through. You can make it through with your same open chord shapes all the way, and you can bust your licks in G major pentatonic and call it a day and move on to the next thing. But this song actually has a lot more going on than that. The main thing is that this song, even though it's D, C, and G, and you'd think it's a 1-4-5 in G, which of course it is, but the melody is based on the D. The instrumentation is based on the G. So when you hear a lot of the solo parts in the leads, you are hearing G major pentatonic. But when you hear Van Zandt sing the lines, it is D. It's D major pentatonic or D mixolydian, so D with a C in it, right? And that's an important thing to note because I think a lot of the main reason that people think this song gets boring and overplayed in the cover band circuit and live in general is because people tend to play it like this all the way through, when really it should go up and it should go down, not just in volume, but also harmonically. If you have a lot of instruments, that interchange between G, where you're sounding a little more rude like the instruments, so you can really tear it up a little bit, and it's clean, the clean vocal lines of the D, if you mix and match them, that's what really makes this song pop, along with those big hits where the band all comes together and does those fills, builds together, and breaks through. So I implore you, learn this song and try to get it down and try to make it better than you already play it because it's a crowd killer. It just is. Don't swim against the tide, right? Now, for those of you that are not familiar with this hashtag Learn the Song, this is not a note-for-note breakdown like you'll find all over the internet. This is geared towards people that are playing in bands. If you want to play in a band and you want to find the key takeaways of the songs, maybe different parts if you're playing with a bunch of different instruments, what is the true melody, what is the true harmony, and when you're improvising, what are the key takeaways, right? What are the things to focus on? And then as a band, where are the hits? Where are the, the increases in volume and decreases in volume? How do you start and end together? So if you like this channel and like this concept, subscribe, like our page on Facebook, and drop me a hashtag Learn the Song in the comments, and I'll put whatever song you want on the list. First off, like I said before, this song is in the key of G. It's a 1-4-5, so G, C, and D. But the vocal melody focuses heavily on the D. And you might ask yourself, why is this important? It's important because the whole interchange of this song, what I feel really makes this song pop, is the dichotomy between the clean, crisp vocal, happier sound of that D mixolydian, over the G, versus all those, fierce G major pentatonic licks that you hear on the instrumental side. So it takes you on this journey, even though you never leave these three chords, because whenever Van Zandt is singing, it's D mixo. It's just sounding like D. It's that, right? But then whenever there's those licks and all those leads, it's all the, all those G major licks, right? But then as soon as he comes back in, it's the, it's like it slows down and it's back to D being the focus. And that's important because in a simple song like this, you have to have peaks and you got to have valleys harmonically and also on your basic sound of the band. So getting to the basic sound of the band, this is a simple approach, right? When you guys are in the verse and the singer is singing, you want to have, your D needs to be in each of the chords, because remember, D is the star, right? So you're going to have D, C add 9, G, if you have one guitar player, but these should be muted. And your pulses should be with the kick drum. Just bum, 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 bum. You're not trying to step on the vocals. If you have a second guitar, maybe you grab power chords or, full chords up top, Maybe you have a third guitar or something else, so you want to try something different. Let them ring out. Maybe let them ring out with triads. But the point is here is you're quiet. You're quiet. Now, after the verse, there's the second major part of the song, which is and that same three chords, with the exception that you're now leading with your third. This is an inversion. For those of you that aren't familiar with inversions, it means something other than the root of the chord is the lowest note in the chord. In this case, it is the third. So in D, you're going up, putting your F sharp in the bass, and you're grabbing that D. You don't have to play the other F sharp on the second string if you don't want to, because you're playing it down here. But that's the point. You're just taking the same D, C, and G, and you're livening it up. You're adding this little chromatic walk up in each of the three spots. And don't let the open part fool you. That is just the same shape as this, because you have the open strings. Now, you got to make sure you all hit that together, but even more important than that, when you go to the chorus, this is something everybody misses on when I see cover bands do this. It's like all of a sudden they're in the chorus and they miss the build, which is, and everybody has got to nail that, because the drums are hitting it, the bass is hitting it, the guitars are hitting it. Everybody's got to get that. It's got to build up, not just hitting the notes, but you got to get a little louder each time through the notes. And what that is a G major pentatonic, right? And you're going open 2 on the 5th string, that's A, B. You're going open, open on the 4th and 3rd, that's D and G. And you're going E to D, that's 2 to 0 on the 4th string. And then back to open and 2, A to B on the 5th string. And what that's going to do is that's going to lead you to right into the chorus. Now what makes the chorus different than the verse is instead of just the as being the basic feel and having muted, this you're loud, and there's another rhythm part. So it's considerably different, and everybody in the band should try to nail that. So what is still D, C, and G, but you're doing this shuffle, this power chord shuffle, this. Now you got to make sure that when you do the D and C, that those are both the same, right? But then when you go to the G, you don't go. It's. It kind of staggers, right? Now, if one guitar is doing that, the other one absolutely should get this lick. And all that is the same as before. Open 2, open 2, open. But you got to nail that C. And that's the key takeaway. The drums got to get that too. It's D, C, G, C, D, C, G. So you got to hit that C in the chorus. Last thing, when you leave the chorus, there's a part where it goes, ooh, ooh, and that is F to a C to a G, or to a D. So you got, now one thing that I see a lot of bands miss on this is basically what you're doing when you throw an F in there is you're stepping into D minor for a moment. We don't need to go theory-wise. All you need to realize is that the movement is going from to, right? F, E, D. And so when you do those on the chords, F, C over E, D. If you just do the big chords, F, C, D, it doesn't capture that linear bass movement which you hear in the tune. And I'm telling you, if you pull this off, the band is going to sound really, really tight. So see if you can get the bass player and the guitar players to each have their lowest note in this part going F, then E. So you can do C over E like this, and then D. If you're the second guitar player, you want to do a higher part, maybe do F, C, D. If you do that, it will really, really hit for you. So the last thing we want to talk about is the soloing over it. And this is important because if you want to sound like the voice, you want to focus on D. If you want to focus on sounding more like the instruments, you want to focus on the G's. And this is important because if you have a lot of people in the band and you want a lot of people to take the solos at the end, you still want to be able to create that back and forth between, the voice sounds and the, the more G guitar sounds, because you don't want to lose people. You don't want to lose their interest, right? So you want to go back and forth. So you're literally thinking G major pentatonic, something, or G major, and then you're thinking D major pentatonic, but with a C. Make sure you can know that you just can play C in there, right? You got the, right? And that's known as D mixolydian. We're not going to get into that right now. But that's the main thing. So I'm going to play it for you a little bit and kind of show you how to go back and forth. But when you're doing this song, that is the main deal. When you're in the verses, you're supporting the vocalist, and it's, the melody is that D mixolydian. It's D, you're focusing on D major pentatonic, but it's over that key of G, right? Now, when you go into that higher part, where you're voice leading with the third being first, make sure everybody gets that together. And then most importantly, when you go into the chorus, that little lick, that everybody's got to nail that, and you have to be huge. And then when you're in the chorus, you have got to get that F, C, D, but make sure you get that walk down where the actual root notes are F, E, D, and you're really going to sound like you have your stuff together. And also, I forgot to mention this. Don't forget to play that in the second verse. When I said in Birmingham we had the governor or whatever, and then it goes F, C, D. It does that same thing again. Just make sure that's huge, it's loud, and it's, and you get it. So here we go. And again, if you like this channel and you want to hear some, you want me to break down a different song for you, just subscribe and drop a hashtag learn the song in the comments. Here we go. Hear the difference when I'm on that G?